Hey, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my weekly photo chats, all things photography. So if you're in sixth grade and you're starting the new semester, it's September, and you're ready to go, and music class comes around and they hand you a trumpet. You've never touched a musical instrument before. You have nothing to offer music at this moment. But they do some classes. They teach everybody in a group. And by the Christmas concerts, all the parents are there. All the kids are dressed up in their Santa hats. And you can now play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You went, in the course of 3 or 4 months, from nothing to something. It's not that hard to go from nothing to something in the art world. You could go get a set of paints at the local art store. You can get a canvas and you can start painting. And yesterday you've never painted before in your life, and today you have a painting. How good is it? That's subjective. But you can go from nothing to something in a very short time. Well, the same is true for photography. There are a lot of people making photographs. There are a lot of people shooting images. Maybe they're not making photographs, because I consider a photograph something that's printed that you can hold in your hand and put on a wall in a frame and call it art. But there are a lot of people making images. And all of those images, you're in a place where you went from nothing to something in a very, very short time. If you're new with a camera, the goal is, how do you go from good to better or great? You can go from nothing to something in the trumpet. And if you keep taking lessons, you can go from something to something good. Nothing to something is here, something good is here. But something great is way up here. And great is difficult. It's like exponentially difficult to go from something good to great. There's a lot of people who can play well. There are a lot of people who can play guitar, but not everybody can play like that one person who can really play everything, the studio musician. The reason they get hired is because they can play anything, effortlessly, every time. That's expertise, right? Well, when it comes to photography, we have the same situation. It's easy to go from something to something good. Just takes time. But to get your own style, to get Mark Knopfler's guitar style, to get Brian May's Queen's guitar style, that's difficult. Because now you have to go from something to something special, something that stands out. Well, how do you do that? And I was watching listening to a podcast with Albert Watson, and he's a celebrity photographer, and he said, and I really like this quote, he says, "Don't be good. There are many people who are good. It doesn't matter. If you're just good, you're almost forgettable. What you need to be is remarkable and unforgettable." So when you make that photograph, and you're going to make a photograph of your mother, you could photograph it like this, and there's a picture of your mother. You could add some cool light, and now there's a picture like this of your mother with some cool light. Or you could frame it here and only have half of her face and have some element over here that has a bit of a storytelling element about her world, and that's a very unusual way to shoot it. But you could do that, and then suddenly you're creating a different vision than what we expect. Somebody might remark, "Hey, look at that. That's an unusual crop. That's an unusual frame." And not just to do it to be unusual or weird, but actually because it communicates in some way something that you want to say. But when it comes to photography, what can you do that isn't just the straight good one? The straight good one is the expected one. Hey, look, there's a picture of a horse in a carriage. I'll take a picture of it. Great. The first shot is the record shot. Look, I got it. Got the whole thing straight on. But now what? Can I get a shot of just his nostrils with steam coming out because it's wintertime? And the people in the background laughing, but there may be a little bit soft focus? What can I do different now that I got the first shot? The first shot is the start of it. A lot of people stop. Maybe this is where good comes in. The good photographers shoot the one shot and it's perfectly in focus and perfectly exposed. But the great photographer goes and explores it. After one, they're not done. One is just the start of the exploration. If you want to be remarkable, well, then you have to start to see remarkably. You have to start looking for things that are interesting to you. You almost have to go play. Hey, look, there's this horse. There's steam coming out of his nostrils. There are people. Maybe I'll get a shot of them laughing. Maybe I'll get a shot of their hooves. Maybe their hooves are in mud. Who knows? The point is, what is the story you want to tell, and how can you do it differently than the straight shot? Because we don't need good. We have plenty of good. And good's fine if you just want to make average photographs. But if you're striving to be great, if you want to be remarkable, if you want to stand out as your own style, like those guitar players, well, what are you doing? Because we don't need more good. We need unforgettable. We need remarkable. And that's our job, is to come up with ways to make those photographs that are that strong, that unforgettable and that remarkable. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. I'll put a link to the Albert Watson podcast down below. You can listen to it. If you can support, hit the Patreon, please. Thank you so much to all my supporters. You keep the show going. I'll be back next time. We'll talk more photography. As always, here's to good light.